Peace. What's up, folks? Welcome to episode number 5, I believe this is. Thanks for the house with AO. I'm your host, AO. Tapped into the Ringside Club channel. We're live right here on YouTube, usually on Mondays, but we're doing Tuesdays. We're getting it together. Of course, peace to the other three fellas, part of the Ringside Club. Peace to Boog, peace to Chad Law, of course, peace to Ron. Make sure you find us everywhere at theringsideclub.com, all social media, Twitter, TikTok, things of that nature, Instagram. Make sure you subscribe, tell a friend. All of the podcasts are available, the video right here on YouTube, the audio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you subscribe, man. Tell a friend. So before we get started, I'm going to let you know what we're talking about tonight really quick. The entire Ringside Club, all 4 of us, we were live at the NYC Arena, Jamaica, Queens, to catch The Darkest Hour by House of Glory Wrestling. That was an amazing show, so I'm going to break that down a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about AEW, the Continental Classic. I have the updated brackets, the scores, the matches, so we might do some previews, just break down the strengths and the weaknesses as this tournament swings along. And I might even get into some Monday Night Raw talk. It was a dope episode of Raw last night. But yeah, let's get this show started without further ado. So, AO.
Peace to the gods, the Ringside Club pod. My name is A.O. Say you heard around the dawn. Blame Boogie while you at it, blame Chad Law. Kayfabe is dead, break the fourth wall. Whatever style, whether it's lucha or strong style. Come through the venue, fly, burn the bar down. Back to the pad, chop it up for the par. Ringside Club, intro to the squad as the show starts.
Peace. Yes, sir. We're here, man. It's Thanks for the House, episode number 5. I'm your host, AO, right here on the Ringside Club channel. Once again, peace to Ron, peace to Bug, peace to Chad Law. Now, let's just get right into it, man. We went to House of Glory. I hadn't been to House of Glory since before the pandemic, since before we were in the middle of COVID time. So 2019 might have been the last show. Ron and I used to go there all the time. Hadn't been in a while. Been catching up with them on PSN, Premier Streaming Network. But we went this past Friday, Jamaica, Queens, NYC Arena, otherwise known as Club Amazora. Bull came, Chad Law came. That was their first House of Glory event. So, you could chop it up with them if you want to know what a first-time experience it was. I don't remember ever being to a House of Glory event where it was that packed. And I've seen sellouts before, but this was like beyond standing room only. Like everything was sold out. All of the seats were sold out. Standing room packed. Like this was a big show. And I'm glad that I was there. So I'm going to bring this up on the screen. There you go. There's the 4 gentlemen, those distinguished gentlemen. That's myself, obviously, on the far left. Ron, Bug right there, Chad Law, with that United States Championship title. But we were there, man. It was an amazing night. A lot of energy. Ran into some good folks. Peace to Nate from Storyline Tees. Peace to Heartbreak Julio, who was just featured on No Flows Barred. Track number 1, Signature Move. He was in the building. The Almanac Show, things like that. There were a lot of people. Ciendor was there. She was in the building. Peace to those wrestling girls, that whole family over there. A couple more familiar faces. Blame it on the memory, not the heart. But it was cool just running into some folks in there. For starters, one of the craziest matches that you're ever going to see. It was for the Crown Jewel Championship. It was Charles Mason versus La Sombra. And that match right now, I think it's Carlos Ramirez. That match right now is available for free on the House of Glory YouTube page. Obviously, if you want to see the entire event, it's on Premier Streaming Network. But they were thumbtacks. There were thumbtacks used in ways I haven't seen thumbtacks used before. Right, so let's stay there for a second. We've seen how many hardcore matches, no holds barred matches, where you've seen the thumbtacks and you spray them across the canvas and you'll see a slam, a back body drop, a power slam, something like that, power bomb. There was some interesting and innovative ways, and I'll just leave it at that without any spoilers for that in particular. But that it was that there were chains, there were steel chairs. They were up on the scaffolding, throwing. It was crazy. It was crazy, and it ended up being like I think that might have been the longest match of the night. But it was definitely worth every minute that I spent watching it. So make sure you check that out. Again, it's free if you don't want to catch the subscription on PSN. It's free on the House of Glory YouTube page. The biggest news of the night, we have a new House of Glory world champion, heavyweight champion. He goes by the name of Mike Santana. You've been seeing this all over social media. So you've seen some shots, you've seen some videos. It's really dope to see him back on top, considering how long he was out after that blood and guts match in AEW, well over a year and a half ago, let's say. Pretty much had to rebuild, his knee. You see he wears that knee brace now. Formerly of Santana and Ortiz, Proud and Powerful, LAX, Jericho Appreciation Society. They came in, not Jericho Appreciation Society. What the hell was the name of the Inner Circle? Came into AEW as members of the Inner Circle, but that tag team is no more. And sidebar, peace to Ortiz. I saw a clip on Twitter. He was in Wrestling Revolver over the weekend, and he came out. His entrance music was "Smooth Operator" by Sade, which is beyond perfect. That was fire. But you see what Santana is going through. He's a world champion. I forget the name of the promotion, but a world champion up in a promotion up in Canada, in Toronto, and now we see him as the heavyweight champion of House of Glory. He took on Matt Cardona. That turned out to be, I believe, a no holds barred match. Instead of the thumbtacks, Matt Cardona, he dropped a bunch of action figures in the ring. Got real ugly. But happy to see the Santana is coming out on the other side of such a rough injury. I think he's doing like a wrestling seminar in Puerto Rico. I think I saw him tweet earlier today. Coming up sometime this week. So he's staying busy, man, and he's, a double world champ right now for, again, that independent promotion in Toronto. But the biggest indie in New York, House of Glory Wrestling, your world champ is Mike Santana. So let's check this out real quick.
Peace be the epitome of left jab, right hook, Pyrenees. A reminder that we all gotta kill the weak mind that feels slighted, then get up and do something. Boost nothing but jab and draw. In fact, I'm raw to the bone, blown past the competition. I just had to stop and listen to my gut. Woke up to no Thanksgiving. Another day, another chance to be great. My knees never late to meet goals. Your face optional, but don't take it there. Smash every.
So that was right after Santana beat Matt Cardona for the championship. And then, he celebrated, he presented the title to the people. And let's listen to a couple of words that he had for the NYC Arena that night.
Hopefully the mic works this time. Real quick, I ain't gonna leave y'all here long. It's fucking late. Y'all watched a bunch of amazing wrestling. Yo, real quick, to everybody that's been riding with me since day one, this one's for y'all. I fucking love my city. I love my people. I love my culture. Those who know me know I went through fucking hell to get back to this shit that I love. But here I am today, the motherfucking king of New York. Santana was gone. Hey, y'all, stay born nasty. The rockin' apple don't fall.
King of New York, man, Mike Santana, brand new HOG champ. Some other news and notes. We saw Cash Flow Ken Broadway. He took on Encore. We saw at the last House of Glory event how that broke down. Ken Broadway turned on Encore. And we had Jay Bougie align himself with Ken Broadway at this past show. So we'll see what the next chapter in Encore and Ken Broadway look like. But looks like the Killionaire Millionaires are running wild across House of Glory. Say whatever you want, like, dislike Swerve Santana. He had one of the biggest pops I've ever been present for. He had a hell of a match against Speedball Mike Bailey. Prince Nana doing Prince Nana things. So, peace to both of those guys. That was a very exciting match, back and forth. We saw the House of Glory debut of the grizzled young veterans, fresh off of getting let out of their contracts with WWE, NXT. They took on the defending tag team champions, the main event. Main event came up victorious, and then they called out ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay from Impact, which leads us into their next event. I promise I'm not getting paid. I'm not plugging this. I'm just, love some House of Glory. But their next event is called Brace for Impact. It's on January 6th. It's a Saturday show. So to start off the new year, they also announced that former two-time Impact World Champ Josh Alexander is going to be a part of the show. And it looks like we're going to have ABC versus main event. They didn't mention exactly what Josh Alexander is going to be doing on the show, but he'll be a part of it. Brace of Impact, House of Glory, January 6th, NYC Arena. So that's dope. Moving along, we do right here, Ringside Club. My name is A.O. Catch me everywhere at I am A.O. Baker. Check this out. So these are the updated scores for the Continental Classic. So much unbelievable discourse over the weekend about people that don't understand how the round robin table works. I mean, it's pretty much simple, man. 3 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, which we have had no ties yet, and no points for a loss. There are 6 people in each each league, Gold League and Blue League. Everybody wrestles each other once. It's 5 matches. And, we tally up the scores at the end of all of the matches. It seems pretty straightforward to me. I was surprised that there was that much of a confusion over how this worked, but whatever. We have tomorrow on Dynamite some Gold League matches coming up. But let's look at the updated score so far. We got Jon Moxley with 6, Swerve Strickland tied at 6. Roosh just picked up his first victory last week against, I believe, Mark Briscoe. Speaking of Mark Briscoe, so he has 3 points. Speaking of Mark Briscoe, he has none. Jay Lethal with nothing. Jay White just lost to Swerve Strickland, but he did pick up his first round win against Mark Briscoe. So we have, again, two people with 6 points. It's Mox and Swerve. 2 people with 3, Roosh and Jay White. And then 2 people with not anything on the board yet, Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal. So let's look at what we have coming up this week. Aside, of course, from Christian Cage, Adam Copeland, that's a big match right there. Tony Storm versus Sky Blue. We'll hear MJF and Samoa Joe against, a couple of these masked men. But as far as Continental Classic matches, we have Jay White versus Jay Lethal. This pretty much is like, can Jay Lethal pick up a victory? And can Jay White bounce back from his loss to Swerve Strickland last week? Swerve seems as though he's the hottest person in the company right now. He'll be taking on Mark Briscoe again. Mark Briscoe is clearly the underdog right here, not because of a lack of ability, but he has 2 losses. Swerve has 2 wins. Swerve has the momentum. So I'm going to go with Swerve. In a previous match, Jay White versus Jay Lethal in the Battle of the Jays, I'm going with Jay White. And then Jon Moxley versus Roosh is probably going to be the heaviest hitting match of the night. Roosh and Mark Briscoe beat the hell out of each other last week. That might have been my favorite match last week on Dynamite. I see no reason to think that Mox versus Roosh is going to be any different. You got 2 guys that don't back down, 2 guys that are heavy-handed, 2 guys that are hard-headed. With that being said, Mox is still the ace of AEW, so I don't really see him taking a loss, but I wouldn't be surprised if Roosh picked up an upset. I don't think that would be the biggest upset of the night. It would be an upset either way. But I wouldn't be surprised if Roosh upset Mox. But if I was a betting man, which I'm not, but if I was, I'm going with Mox for the W. Let's go on to the Blue League. These are the matches that are going to be coming up on Collision this Saturday. But so far, the scoring is as follows. Bryan Danielson had his first match. So he has 3 points. He took on Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston put both of his titles on the line, and he has yet to earn a victory. He lost a first-round match against Brody King. He lost last week to Danielson. The highest amount that he can score right now is 9 points. So we'll see what the rest of this tournament looks like for Eddie Kingston, but it doesn't look good. It looks like he's dropping both of these titles without even making it to the finals. I had him and Swerve Strickland, by the way, in the finals, and it doesn't look like at least one half of that final is going to actually happen. So he has no points on the board yet. Bryan Danielson with 3. Brody King, he was a guy that as big as he is, a lot of people probably looked at him as an underdog. He took on Claudio Castagnoli this past Saturday, and he picked up that win. That was an upset to me. Claudio is a former Ring of Honor champ, you know, but Brody King is proving himself to be the baddest man in the land, and he is in the lead right now. He has 6 points, and he is the only person with 6 points in the Blue League right now. Andrade also had his first match. He picked up 3 points. He beat Daniel Garcia, and Garcia and Kingston are in the same boat. No points on the board yet. Daniel Garcia is an underdog. You know, he's an underdog, and he's looking like he's trying to find. He has that balance, that sports entertainer on one shoulder, that pro wrestler on the right. Plus, he has Daddy Magic in his ear, and he can't be in his corner obviously, but he's in his ear. So there's so many interesting ways that a lot of these wrestlers can go for the duration of the tournament. So let's see what we have coming up in the Blue League. These are the matches announced. We have Omega's wrestling Ethan Page, by the way, this Saturday in Collision. They're actually live in Montreal tonight, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be airing on Saturday. But Danielson versus Andrade, and this match is interesting because you see that patch that's over Bryan Danielson's left eye. Broken orbital bone in 2 spots, I believe, 2 places, and Andrade is the reason for that broken orbital bone. They had a match on Collision, quarterback elbow, bang, Bryan Danielson is out for some time. So not only are points on the line, undefeated streaks or undefeated records at least so far in the Continental Classic on the line. Both of these guys with 3 points on 1 match and 1 win. But there's some revenge, I'm sure, that's going to be on the mind of Bryan Danielson. You know, I think the interesting story here could be, is he going to remain unemotional and focused on getting the job done, or is it an eye for an eye with Andrade? We'll see. And then, of course, this match, man, Claudio Castagnoli versus Eddie Kingston. These two have had beef for years, and Eddie Kingston beat Claudio Castagnoli for that Ring of Honor championship. Is Claudio Castagnoli going to put the nail in the coffin of Eddie Kingston's run? Because there's no way if he takes another loss that he's going to, do anything with 6 points, even if he wins his final 2 matches. If he loses to Claudio, you can pretty much count Eddie Kingston out. Or is Eddie Kingston going to beat Claudio Castagnoli? Like, I put my money on Eddie Kingston. I think he figures out, what's been missing, why he hasn't been able to put a victory on the board yet. I'm going to go with Eddie Kingston for the win. And as far as Bryan Danielson versus Andrade, I'm going to go with Bryan Danielson. Again, originally, I wasn't sure what shape Bryan Danielson was going to be in. We saw that he had broke his arm over the summer in the Forbidden Door match with Okada, took some time off, came back, and then he had the orbital bone. We hear the commentary all the time. Brittle Bryan Danielson. We'll see if Bryan Danielson's body can hold up to make it through this tournament in the first place, let alone defeat Andrade. But again, bet man, if I were, I'd go with Bryan Danielson, and of course I'm going with Kenny Omega to beat Ethan Page. Ethan Page has gotten himself into some amazing shape, by the way. You know what I mean? So peace to him for that. But yeah, so that's the Continental Classic. This is the 3rd week, I believe. These are some wrestlers' 3rd matches, some wrestlers' 2nd matches. But we're getting to the point of the Continental Classic now where there are going to be some people that don't have enough points to be in contention for the finals, by the time we get to the last couple of weeks, but they can play spoiler, depending on who, what these next couple of weeks look like and what those matchups look like. You're going to have wrestlers that aren't in contention to win anymore, but can spoil it for somebody else. So that's something to pay attention to. Pay attention to, maybe Jon Moxley's knees. We saw him come up limping a little bit. Let's pay attention to what shape is Eddie Kingston in. Did he bite off more than he can chew after defending that, New Japan Strong Championship as often as he did, and defending that Ring of Honor Championship as often as he did, and then putting both of those titles on the line along with the Continental Classic Championship to make that American Triple Crown? There's a lot of things that can happen. But, that's all happening tomorrow on Dynamite and Saturday on Collision. With that being said, Monday Night Raw last night was dope. We have a lot of interesting banter going back and forth. So one story coming out of here is that CM Punk has been, first of all, he's going to be on SmackDown on Friday, but he was also invited by Adam Pearce to come to Raw next week on Monday Night Raw. And for whatever reason, Adam Pearce thought that right before Seth Rollins goes out to defend his championship against main event Jey Uso, he thought that that was the perfect time just to let Seth Rollins know that this is what I'm going to be doing regarding CM Punk. And for all intents and purposes, Seth Rollins, told him, like, bro, do whatever you want with him. It's going to blow up in your face. And when it does, stay out of my way, just like I need you to stay out of my way right now, because I'm defending my championship against somebody that's actually worthy of my time with main event Jey Uso. And they had an amazing match. There were a couple of moments, to be completely honest, where I was on the hook for, like, man, I can see Jey Uso defeating Seth Rollins right now. You know what I mean? But in the end, Seth Rollins defended a very, very game Jey Uso, who has had now an opportunity for a world championship against Roman Reigns, and he's had an opportunity for the world heavyweight championship against Seth Rollins. 0-2, but he's making a great showing for himself. You know what I mean? Definitely. So he's just continuing to solidify himself as a solo. And you know what I mean? We started the night off with Drew McIntyre against Sami Zayn. Again, like that killer instinct, no remorse, no sympathy, no empathy that's bubbling to the surface. It finally went overboard now with Drew McIntyre. We saw Drew McIntyre pick up the win. During the match, at some point, we saw that Sami Zayn, either tweaked his ankle or his knee or whatever, and there was no let up, no remorse, no time given by Drew McIntyre. He hit him with a chop block, he hit him with a Claymore kick, he picked up the victory, and then later on that night, he came back out and after Seth Rollins and Jey Uso's match, he attacked both of those guys. He's making it very, very clear that I want my world championship opportunity. I want it sooner rather than later. And there's no rest for anybody as long as he doesn't get that shot, when he wants that shot. And really, as long as he's not champion, he's making everybody's life a living hell. And then finally, before we get out of here, Shinsuke Nakamura, making it very clear. And I love the explanation here. Shinsuke Nakamura to Cody Rhodes. The reason why I attacked you last week is pretty much because I know exactly what journey you're on. You're on the same journey that I was on when I came up to the main roster, won the world championship, played it too nice, ended up losing to AJ Styles, who was the champion at the time, and I haven't been able to get back to the top or get back to the pinnacle since. Even though he had an opportunity, he's had a few opportunities, the most recent one being against Seth Rollins. He hasn't been able to put two and two together to get that gold put over his shoulder at the end of that match. And he's looking at Cody. He's like, you and I got similar paths. And with that being said, you're the golden child, or I'm about to make your life a living hell. You have a target on your back. You named yourself the first entrant for the Royal Rumble. I'm probably going to see you then, but I'm going to see you real soon. And then we saw that match is booked. That match is booked for next week. Cody Rhodes, Monday Night Raw versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Looking forward to it. These vignettes with the subtitles for Shinsuke Nakamura have been money since they've been committed to doing them on a regular basis. So keep that up. It was a dope-ass episode of Monday Night Raw. And a lot to look forward to. Again, we have that match coming up. We'll see what headspace Drew McIntyre is in. Are there going to be any consequences for Drew McIntyre's actions? And, of course, CM Punk. How is Seth Rollins going to react to CM Punk? Is he going to come out? What show is CM Punk going to commit to? Again, he's going to be on SmackDown. So there's a bit of a bidding war between Raw and SmackDown. So all in all, man, dope episode of Monday Night Raw. Continental Classic is cooking. And, again, House of Glory was fire this past weekend. So with that being said, it's the obligatory self-promotion time. No Flows Barred, 1 week in stores. Peace to everybody that's either purchased the album or streamed the album, shared the album, the EP. Peace to Graham, Heartbreak Julio, and of course, peace to Rich Latta for their contributions to the project. But yeah, pick that up. That's on all streaming platforms. Check me out, A.O. Baker, No Flows Barred. That is out right now. Catch it on every streaming platform, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Amazon Music, wherever you listen, it's right there. You can pick it up on partofmyfresh.com along with the No Flows Barred merchandise collection, t-shirts, and hoodies. Speaking of Part of My Fresh, holidays are coming up. Holidays are here. Shopping season is here. So this is moving right now. Pick up one of these great beanies at partofmyfresh.com. That being said, this has been Thanks for the House. My name is A.O. This is the Ringside Club channel. Catch us usually live every Thursday night. The fellas are going to be doing some things. I'll be out on assignment. But with that being said, my name is A.O. For Boog, for Ryan, and for Chad Law. It's the Ringside Club. Catch y'all when I catch y'all, man. Peace.